I'm Eric Sundberg, and in conjunction with the University of St. Thomas Department of Geography, I study conservation mismatch in the United States. The first step into exploring conservation mismatch is to review background information presented by Clinton Jenkins. Jenkins engages in a thoughtful debate with Christopher Brown about where we should conserve land. Next, I reviewed research by Walter Reed that backed up Jenkins' findings. After that, using information I learned from the aforementioned researchers, I dove into my own GIS research based on Jenkins' conservation priorities. After I discuss my GIS findings, I will explore the research question, are biodiversity-rich lands not protected because they are flat? Let's begin by talking about Jenkins' work. The key point of Jenkins' article is that there is an alarming mismatch between protected lands and lands that should be protected based on taxa present in those lands. He found that certain lands should be protected based on priority scores which stem from endemic species living there. His main priorities were the Southeast and California. Brown responded to Jenkins' article by saying that he failed to weigh in economic value in the land he wanted to protect. Another issue is that given climate change, it is hard to determine if the species he aims to protect will actually be protected for long. Brown also determined that conservation should be prioritized in the central or western United States. Jenkins responds that Brown's conservation plan simply aimed to conserve based on economic efficiency and physical beauty. Following a conservation plan in that way can lead to extinction. In Biodiversity Hotspots by Walter V. Reed, Reed essentially comes to the same conclusion as Jenkins. He separates conservation based on taxa. Reed also uses the idea of endemism, which are sites that are rich in species with the most restricted ranges. In order to replicate Jenkins' findings, I constructed a GIS model consisting of the layer protected public lands, then running feature to point to construct protected points, then using centroids through point density created neighborhood protection, which displays where U.S. land is protected. That model produced density protection values that primarily appeared in the West. Jenkins' priority index that I replicated shows an emphasis of protection in the Southeast and California. When I applied both layers to the same map, I confirmed the mismatch. The bulk of the centroids appear in the central and western United States, not so much in the Southeast. My findings showed that the protection centroids I plotted do not align with the biodiverse lands that Jenkins proposed. The southeast coastal regions should be where we apply conservation efforts, but instead we protect the mountainous lands in the west. That brings me to my research question that was developed from Jenkins' article and my GIS findings. Are biodiversity-rich lands not protected because they are flat? I began by using the hillshade layer to determine that Alabama, a state rich in biodiversity, has sparsely protected land, and it all happened to lie on high elevations. Next, I was able to use the slope layer to confirm my findings. The light colors are higher slopes, and the black is where there is protected land. There appears to be a correlation between hilly land and protected lands. In the case of Alabama, the protection is all valuable. However, in many other places across the country, it is not valuable. If we continue to conserve in this way, biodiversity will suffer. To conclude, most of the United States protected land lies in the West. This land is not rich in biodiversity, but it is mountainous and beautiful. These results do, however, make sense. That Western land was cheap to obtain, which leads back to Brown's idea of maximizing the amount of land to conserve for the cheapest amount. Quantity over quality is not a good conservation plan. Hopefully people like Jenkins are taken more seriously in the future. Thank you so much for your time.